one and all, and we welcome you, dear esteemed educator, Ambassador Mary Mia Ma'am, from all the way from South Africa. We cordially invite you to join us today for our session, and where we will all graciously share your expertise with our student. And your invaluable insights and teaching undoubtedly always it's undoubtedly amazing. And we are thrilled to have you on board and looking forward to enlightening our session. Thank you for your time, always, and contribution which you give it to our ESC. And now you are absolutely our ESC Global Educator. And we see you in the many magazines as your inspiring articles and your autobiography. We are loving that. So over to you, my dear respected ma'am. The next 30 minutes are all yours.
Thank you, and thank you so much, my dear Dr. Marvi. Lovely to be here. I hope you can all hear me very well. I have no power here, but I'm hoping that you can still hear me and the vision is still okay. I'm glad to see so many of the shining stars that I know from before. Lovely to see you again. And to those I'm seeing for the first time, welcome to you also. And if you haven't been with me before, then the one thing you should know is that when I teach you, I do not teach you where I talk only. I'm not the only one who's going to talk. I do one thing and then you talk back to me, because otherwise there's no way for me to know whether you're learning what I say or whether you have grasped anything I'm trying to teach you. So it's a very interactive lesson. I don't ever sit here and I just tell you things and then I go away. No, I kind of do stuff like that. And then I give you a little bit of homework also, which I don't mark, but it's for you to learn more about what we're learning about. Okay, so today I'm not talking about any specific word. I'm not talking about anything very, very difficult. It's going to be very easy. But I want everyone to have a chance. You will raise your hand and I'll call your name. And I want you to unmute. And when you unmute, I want you to give me 2 sentences. Just 2 sentences in English about anything. Absolutely anything, whatever you want to say. But 2 good sentences. And I want you to give it to me. And after you are done, I will tell you why we're doing that as a lesson. Okay? So who's going first? 2 sentences only 2. Who wants to go first? Hands up. You can raise your hand and I will ask you. Or must I just ask you by name? Okay, I will ask by name. Okay, so I am seeing somebody who says 714 Sarita. Pratibha, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you give me your 2 sentences, please?
Yes.
Anything, it doesn't matter. Tell me anything, whether it's about the weather,
Yes.
about what, anything, whatever.
Can I, ma'am, give my introduction?
Yes, please.
Yes. My name is Sarita Verma. I am from Suratgarh, Rajasthan. I hold my master degree in education. I'm a B.Ed. I am passionate about history, English, in depth. I am an introvert person who give values on solitude. Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. Mrs. Monica Jane. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, forgive me.
Yes, ma'am. My name is
Yes.
Monica Jain. I'm from Kota, Rajasthan. I graduated with a degree in PCB, Physics, Chemistry, and Biology.
Lovely. Okay, very nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gunika Sharma, lovely to see you, sweetie. What do you want to say? Give me 2 sentences.
Okay, ma'am. I live in Indore, and Indore is a very beautiful place, and it have many food food items, many dishes. If we want, if every kind of food is here, so we don't want to go anywhere.
So I need to come and visit you because I like food. Okay, brother Ankit Patel, I see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings.
Greetings, ma'am. The 2 sentences are, first one is, books are the best friend, And the second one is honesty is the best policy. So
Lovely.
I'm from India, Madhya Pradesh. It is the central state of India, from where I belong to. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Kritika, lovely to see you. Give me your 2 sentences, sweetie. Kritika,
Greetings, ma'am.
greetings. What are your 2 sentences, sweetie?
The first one is
Anything, anything, anything. Okay, I'm going to come back to you, right? You think about it. We will move to Neeta Sharma, please. Neeta Sharma, ma'am.
My name is Neeta. I am from India, from Haryana, and I live in Sirsa, and I am physiotherapist working in Shashit Namji Specialty Hospital, Sirsa. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Is it Swati Insan?
Glad to communicate with you, ma'am. My name is Swati Insa from Kota, Rajasthan. My 2 sentences are when I feel stressed and depressed, I do meditation with yoga and prefer to do some exercise, and for calmness, I do mindful meditation.
Lovely, lovely. We'll move to Tejaswa Pratap Singh.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
I am from Kota, Rajasthan, and I mm, I love to read the holy books.
Lovely, very nice. Priyanshu Insan.
I am from Pilivanga, Rajasthan, India, and now I am living in Jaipur. And now I am living in Jaipur.
It's okay. It's okay. Give me one other sentence. Anything that you would like to say. One more thing. Okay, never mind. It's okay. You said one thing. It's all right. Deepti Nakpal, I see a name there, but I don't see a face. So I'm not sure who is this. Pawani, let's go. What would you like to say?
Okay. Music, different music are emotions, and honesty is the best. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Kritika, do you have a sentence now, sweetie, for me?
Yes, ma'am. I am
Lovely.
from Kota, Rajasthan, and I like singing. And today, I learn new songs.
Very nice. Okay, did I leave anybody out? Is there anybody else that I left out? I don't think so. If I did, I'm sorry, but you can raise your hand and I will ask you again. But what I've just done is I didn't teach you anything right now. I didn't give you a lesson. I didn't teach you a word. I didn't teach you a sentence. I didn't teach you how to frame your sentence. I didn't teach you anything, right? Correct? All I did was ask you to speak. And all of you said something, even if it was 1 sentence or 2 sentences or perfectly made sentences, but whatever it was, every one of you said something to me. And in everything that every one of you has said to me, there is something about you that I learned. I don't know any of you, correct? We have not met before. correct? But in what you all just said to me, one thing that you would have said to me, every one of you, has taught me something about you as a person. Whether it was where you live, whether it was what you like doing, whether it's what you studied, whether it's what you did for the day, whatever it was, you've just given me something about you that I just learned. And because I've just learned this about you, I am now acquainted with you. I now know you, a little bit about you. But what have we done with that engagement, with that discussion? You've just learned how to communicate with me. Even though I didn't have to teach you how. I didn't teach you a lesson as to what word to use where in order to communicate with me. You just communicated with me on your own. And the reason I'm teaching you that is because I need you to understand the power of communication. The power of you knowing that you can speak up. You can have the voice that says something, and whatever you say reaches the person enough so that you can learn about the people. You can learn what the person is saying. You can learn about the person and what they are trying to teach you. So if I'm sitting here, but I was not attentive to what you were saying, I would never have grasped who's living where, who's doing what. I wouldn't have known that, there's a nice statement that Ankit and another person also said about honesty being the best policy. I wouldn't have registered that and learned these things from you or about you. I wouldn't know somebody here is from physiotherapy and who studied what. I wouldn't know these things. But because there's this art, and I call it art, there's an art of communication. It gives us the power to grow together. It gives us the power to learn. And when I have this power to learn, I become hungry to learn more. And when I want to learn more, I will grasp what I have to learn about that even better. Do you understand? So if I had to start off today's lesson and start teaching you what is an adjective, if I had to start teaching you what is a noun and what is a pronoun, I had to ask you what is a verb, and I had to tell you to give me a sentence with an adjective in it, etc., you would be lost. You won't know how to actually give me the feedback. And where then is there this communication? How are we going to talk to each other? We're not. So the art of communicating is very important, not just on this platform with me and you. It's important in your daily lives. Whether you are in school with your teacher, whether you are at home with your family, whether you are at work with your colleagues, wherever you are, even if I'm walking into a store just to buy bread and milk, I have to communicate with someone. I cannot shy away from communication. But imagine if I don't communicate with anybody. What's going to happen then? Can I walk into a store, just take what I want and walk out? No, I can't do that. Can I have come onto this platform now and just not said anything? Could you have sat on this platform and just not said anything? What are we then taking away from everything? So in everything that we have to do with language, with anything to do with the English language, because it is universal, it allows us to help each other by communication. It allows us to help each other to understand each other better. So when I have to teach you about the adjective, you will understand what it means. And by the way, just so you know, an adjective is just a describing word, right? You know this? You should know this. And if you don't, all it is telling me, today was an extremely hot day. And it was in my country. Very, very hot day. So I have just described what kind of day it was. It was an adjective. And I was lazy and I just sat with a book and I read all day. What did I do? I was reading the whole day. So I read a book. That means it's a verb. It was a doing word. But even in me telling you this with the English grammar in it, you are learning something about me. Get it? So in today's lesson, there were two things I want you to take away from it. I want you to take away that there is the power in communication. And the power of communication sits in how we communicate. If my tone has to be raised to a specific level where I'm shouting at you and I say, Brother Ankit, you did not say this. I want 2 sentences now. Do you think he's really going to be nice when he has to give it to me? I don't think so. He's going to shy away. So how we also talk makes communication more effective for the person who's listening to us. So when I'm in my school and in my classroom, there's a rule. All of you who are in a classroom with your teachers, you know the rule. You're not supposed to distract your other kids. You don't just blurt out and talk to the teacher. You have to raise your hand. There's certain etiquette in your class. The same at home. The same when you're with elders. The same when you go out. That you can't just do certain things. Why? Because we taught certain skills. And language is a skill. Communication is also a skill. And you little ones who are here now will learn this as you grow up and grow older, that the more you engage with people in the proper communication skills, the better you will be when you are in the role of a career that you choose. Because you don't know where your career can take you. It can take you across the world. It can bring some of you to me in South Africa, or it can bring me to you there where I can have all the nice food that I think Gunika was saying. Gunika Sharma said her place has got all these lovely foods and I will never go hungry. Maybe I'll go and visit her. I don't know. But if I don't know the art of communication, how am I going to even get the food from there? How am I going to ask where is she from? So we have to learn to not shy away from talking, even if we are learning a foreign language. So I understand everybody is from India, and I understand English, the language itself, might not be so easy to grasp. But look at how beautifully today, we didn't start off the lesson by me teaching you. Actually, today's lesson started by you teaching me. Why? Because of a communication skill. Because each of you actually have the skill to communicate. But we think that we don't know how, because it's a foreign language and because there's so many different things to the linguistic things about this language and how it's supposed to be. And these are things, yes, it is very important, especially if you are writing material, you have to know certain things about your tense and grammar. But that will come. However, in the art of communication and the language that comes out through you to other people, that builds your language, that builds your communication skill. And that's what I want to teach you about. Because if you don't build that, then even though you know how to write the perfect essay, it's still not going to help you to communicate with people in the world. It's not going to help you to communicate with people in your workplace, in your school. Communication is about how do I interact with people, not only about how do I write things down. We need to balance it so that we know both. And when we have both in check, then we know this is the power of language. This is the power of words. This is the power of having this art of communication and getting the skill more developed. So every time, for example, you see me or you see any other of the beautiful lecturers that you have with ESC, you're actually learning from them. You're taking away from every one of them, and they are helping you to develop this communication skill. And the skill that you thought you didn't know too much about. Whoever is sitting here probably thought, I'm learning now because I need to learn more about this language. I need to learn how do I speak? How do I do this? Guess what? Today you just proved to yourself that you can do it. All you need to do is just learn a little bit more, enhance it a little bit more. And through this ESC platform, you'll be able to know more and more and more. And the more you grow, guess what? The more you'll be able to teach even other people. And sometimes it's not about you giving a lesson. It's by how you talk to them. So sometimes just by you talking to other people, somebody's listening to you and they suddenly like how you just spoke. That in itself is a lesson. And that is power. That's the power of education, and it is also the power of communication. So I can be talking to Swati Insan about something she's doing at work. And we're having this very good conversation in English because I don't know how to speak Hindi or anything else. So she's speaking to me in English. And let's say Mrs. Monica Jain actually listens to us talk. She's not part of our conversation. But Mrs. Monica is going to listen to Swati and I talking, and she's going to be empowered to want to talk and speak like we are talking because she's heard us. That is growth. That is me developing. And that's us showing the power of how to communicate effectively. Get it? So that was my small little bit about today's lesson. Here's the thing now that we're going to go forward. You are going to do something for me. And when I see you next time, you're going to give me this feedback. Okay? You are going to do you all know what is a dialogue? No? Okay, so you're going to do 6 sentences for me. 6. You're going to write it down. But it's going to be 2 people that say the sentences. So you can decide. One will be you who says a sentence, and you will write a sentence of what somebody will say in response to what you've just said. But it's 6 sentences. So literally you're having 3 conversations. It can go like this. So it's where I will say, "Good morning, Priyanshu." The next sentence will be, Priyanshu then said, "Good morning to ma'am." The next one will be, Nita Sharma said to ma'am, "Today is such a hot day." And ma'am then replied and said, "Yes, I wish I could put the fan on." Something like that. But I want you to write it down. Get me? Because, like I was saying to you, it's one thing to speak it, but we must also know how to balance it out by writing it. When we learn how to speak it properly, we'll want to write it properly. When I learn how to write it properly, I must also learn how to speak it properly. So the homework would be, I'm going to write out these sentences, but when you speak it out loud, it must make sense to you. You must like what you've written down. It mustn't be just haphazard. I'm writing it out for the sake of it. Does it make sense to everybody? Yes? So do you all know that there's this power of language? Do you see this power of language? Do you see this power in communication skills? And do you see how in today's lesson alone, you have just learned how to better your skill by talking to me? Just by talking, just by sharing, just by using your own words in your own tone, you just grew yourself and your level of your art in communication. So does anybody have any questions before I close up? Any questions, anybody? Or anybody want to say anything? If everybody's going to be quiet, it means either it was a very good session or it means that you're all just tired or bored. I don't know which one it is.
Ma'am, what about you? We want to know about you.
What about me? What do you want to know about me? Ask. I will tell you. Okay, so I'm in South Africa. I am an educationist and I'm also a counselor. I give therapy to children, to families, to women, and I'm a lecturer as well. Anything else? Talk to me. Ask me anything you want to ask. You have 5 minutes.
I mean, South
Ma'am, where
Africa.
do we
Sorry?
Where
Okay,
you
one
live
person at
inside?
a time.
Where you live
I'm
in
in South
South
Africa.
Africa?
I'm in
Where?
in India, you have different states, but in South Africa, we have what we call provinces. So my province is called KwaZulu-Natal. That's where I am.
Ma'am, how is weather there?
Absolutely hot. Like I said, today was extremely hot, and with no power, that means there's no air conditioning and there's no fan. So not a very good state right now, but yes, otherwise it was very, very hot today.
Ma'am, it's always like hot only, or sometimes it's winter also.
No, oh my gosh, some days here we have very, very cold weather. But recently, I must say, I think it's because of climate change. We've had all 4 seasons in one day. You will wake up and it will be windy, and then you'll go to school or you go to university, and I start lecturing, and I'm dressed in the, warm clothes because it had a cold wind, and I come out and the sun is blazing hot. And then in the afternoon, it starts to rain, and then it gets hot again, and then it gets cold again. So sometimes you don't know, actually. But the weather is the way it is everywhere, I think, because of climate change. Yes. Anyone else want to ask anything?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to know,
Yes.
like in India, there is a 4 season. What you have told about that thing, but I'm wanted to know how what is the culture of the main how they are living there, how their the education system. So, like in India, there is a education system. So that way I wanted to know you and the language in which language you communicate, common language communication.
So everything here I teach and I do is in English. The same language I'm using with you is everything is in English. We teach in English, but every school is allowed more than one language. So you will do English as your main language all over. But if you come from a certain province or an area or a state where the second language is either, there are 11 main languages in our country, 11. And I have to admit, I don't know all 11. I don't. Okay. So I know only 3 or 4. But in some of the schools that you go to, depending on which area you are in, then you will be doing English as your first language, and you will do another as the language of where you are in. So in other words, we try not to take away what the mother tongue is. We try to use the mother tongue in the system to try and help our children to understand the curriculum a little bit. And in terms of the system, we do have a twofold system. So you have the private schooling and you have the public schooling. And then, of course, you have the tertiaries and all of that happens. But I am in all. So I work in most of them, in all of them. And I sit with all the different counselors so we can actually work with putting the curriculum together to help develop more better systems to put into our schools and whatever else here. Yeah, I hope that answers you a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But how it
Okay.
is difficult, single day we are seeing the all 4 days like rainy day, hot winter. So how you manage like I'm traveling here, I'm going to school, and suddenly winter come. So I have to put my cloth with me also. So it is very difficult.
So what we do is we tell them you'd rather carry the jacket because the jacket you can take off. But if you don't
Okay.
have anything to keep warm and suddenly gets cold, what do you do? So you must think about it before you leave home and try and do actions that make it a bit easier for you. That's kind of what we have to do in the meantime. But otherwise, we are grateful. We give gratitude for just having the blessing of being there every day. We give gratitude for everything. And I give gratitude, for example, to Dr. Madhvi that I have all of you and that we had this time together. And it's now my time to say goodbye to you, but I'm going to see you next month. I know I'm going to see you next month. And next month, I'm hoping Dr. Madhvi is listening to me. I'd like to have 2 sessions in March because there's 2 things I'd like to do. But when you see me again, each of you is going to come back with your sentences. And you're going to tell me different things about whatever your sentences will say. And remember, though, there's only 2 things I said for today. The power of language means you have power in your communication. Okay? I see everybody said it back with me, so I'm so glad. Okay, thank you very much for having me, Dr. Madhvi, again. And thank you, all of you shining stars. I'm so happy to be here, and I look forward to our next month. God bless.
We would now like to
Take
extend our
care.
heartfelt gratitude now.
Pleasure to interact with you, ma'am.
Connecting with you, ma'am.
Mary, ma'am, your enlightening presentation and expert insights have greatly enriched our students, absolutely. And your generosity is always sharing your time and expertise with the truly appreciated. And we would love to have your sessions again and again. So there's nothing about me. It's all about you. Whenever you want, please just order me. And I want to do it because they are your student. We are the global educators. You are our team and the best team ever in the world. I always say that people must be having a proper one country team, but I have a worldwide team. And I have all those,
Yes.
I should say that, platinum or more than that, like all of the diamonds which I have got from over the world, those global educators who are really shining it out. And my shining stars are really learning from it a lot. So thank you so much for this collaboration, respected ma'am.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Pleased to be connecting with you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
My team, kindly stop the recording, please. All right, my dear Shining Stars. So I believe that you all have understood our today's session. And as you know that our magazine is getting published. So those students who will complete their whole book, they will only get the chance on that magazine. And do remember this magazine is going to be get published in many amazing sites. Today only it has got uploaded in one of the sites which have almost, I think, to more than 24,000 followers. So you cannot even imagine that, you're gonna get so much into it. So and means lakhs of people are going to watch it. So you're going to get a great coverage. So better you should complete your whole of the recording with your whole book of ESC. Okay, do complete your all the audio recordings. And those students who has completed our audio recording, please do it complete with the video recordings. Okay. That's it, my dear Shining Stars. We'll catch you tomorrow. and whatever homework you're getting it in the like group, you can do it. Those are students who are doing good and they are feeling that the book is getting easy for you, so we can add you in the advanced class too, okay? But only for those students who are actually evolving and learning a lot. All right, my dear Shining Stars, thrilled to be connecting with all of you. Have a pleasurable
Thrilled to
time.
be connecting with you, ma'am.
Nice
Pleasure.
connecting with you.
Pleased to be
Pleasure
connecting
to
with
be
you,
in touch
ma'am.
with
Have a
you,
great
ma'am.
time.
Great
Thrilled to be
time,
connecting with you,
Nice to
ma'am.
meet you,
Bye.
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good.